Cool. Welcome, guys. It is Education Collective. First time we've done this in a while. Certainly, first time we did this kind of online since we've had the summer where schools are on break. We're back now as schools. We've done a half term. We did like 6-7 weeks. We had a break. And now we're back. So we thought it a perfect time to just speak to all the educators out there and get together. We've just finished the schools tour as a schools project. We did this week, we visited 6 schools, we did 7 sessions, actually in person in the schools. So that was incredible. Our partnership with the Metropolitan Police Service here in London, that's just going from strength to strength. And they're lining up schools already for our next tour. So that was super encouraging. But what is more encouraging for us right now is that we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to connect with one of our family, one of our friends, and we've got Reggie all the way from, let me get this right, Tennessee.
Memphis, home of Elvis Presley. That's where I'm at.
Man, that's awesome. One place I want to go, but maybe next year. So yeah, Reggie, we really appreciate you joining us. This is Education Collective. You are, you know, one of the, probably if not the greatest communicator to schools around the world. You come with us on tours. We've missed you this week. We haven't had you with us in the schools, but we know you'll be back with us really soon. So it's just amazing to connect with you and just to get some of your thoughts. I know you've got loads on your heart with regards to educators. So I'm just going to hand over to you and then, yeah, I'll come back to you in a bit.
Well, I'm going to ask you first, just to give me like a 30-second picture of what schools is like in England right now. You know, being in America, you know, we have half our kids are going to school, the other half are doing virtual at home. So literally for our teachers and educators, they're doing double the job for the single pay. And it's like, we're finding out what our teachers who are really into it for the kids and the ones who have already just filed for early retirement. Okay. So what does it look like in London right now?
Well, okay, so we're in lockdown 2, as we like to call it. The whole nation has gone into lockdown for 4 weeks. But the difference between this lockdown and the last lockdown is that schools, universities, and colleges are in session. So we, as educators, we are going into school. The kids are coming into school. They're separated into kind of bubbles. So their year groups are separate. They don't mix. But yeah, it's strange because life kind of goes on as normal in schools, but the whole nation around us is locked down. So we're going back and forth, but our families, we're not meeting up with families. But yeah, teachers, we're coming in. If you get a COVID case in the school, you might be isolating at home for 2 weeks. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a strange thing. But it's good. They're protecting, the idea is they're protecting the mental health and mental well-being of the students. They don't want to keep them at home if they can avoid it, because they recognize that has an impact on their mental health. So that's where we're at. Schools go on, nation locks down. It's a strange thing.
It is a strange thing. So for the teachers, educators like you, we've done some things in America for our teachers that I think will translate over the pond, that's what we call it. And then it's just to help you. And it's like teaching during COVID. How do you do that? What does that look like? And we just have a couple of things for you to keep in mind, or maybe even implement into your life so that you can be a better, not just teacher, but it's just a person. So the first thing we tell people during COVID that they have to do is control what is controllable. So you know what's in your means, the stuff that you can handle, the things that you can do. What I'm saying is focus on the things that you can control and that you can prioritize. But the other stuff that is out of your control, just let it go. You got to mentally just tell yourself, let it go, because that could drive you crazy. And I know that everybody in the UK been watching everything in America, and there's stuff here that's out of my control. So I've decided to let the vote count go. I'm just going to let it go because it's out of my control. Watch this. It says carve out time for yourself, self-care, self-time, carve it out, because you can get all messed, you can get all inundated with this, especially if you're in class and doing virtual. You got to handle both situations, and you can lose who you are. Never lose that. Never lose who you are. Make sure you got time to do that. Get your body moving. Get your body moving. And I know, thank God, you guys are actually going to work, going to school, teaching kids face to face. I'm sure the commute's a little easier right now, but I'm just saying that would probably cool. But keep yourself moving, keep yourself moving, keep yourself active. Find something that you can do. Watch this. Model self-compassion. Okay, in the words of the song, be good to yourself. All right, be good to yourself. And how about this? Communication is vital. Whether you're communicating with other teachers, whether you're communicating with a supervisor, let them know what's going on. Let your friends. A lot of times when you're, and I know you guys have probably figured this out in this second lockdown, because you're going to the school, you're seeing other teachers and stuff, and you're probably breathing more of a sigh of relief than a normal person who's not a teacher, who has to stay home all the time. So even in your family circle, text them, talk to them. Don't say, oh, I got busy. No, just make sure everybody's doing okay. Dedicate workspace. Just make sure you separate home from work, spend time with your kids, just get all that down. And I know some of this is redundant, but yet still it's stuff we need to know. And the most important thing, I believe reach out is cool. Reach out to people, reach out to those students. Notice the ones who haven't been there in a few days, and kind of reach out to them, because you never know. In America here, some of our schools are virtual, and what's happening is simply this. They had a study come out, because it's been so long since COVID hit, and it's scary. In America, it's scary, because what's happening is the abuse of children, the neglect of children, the cases have gone down, way down, because they're not leaving the house so that an adult can see what's happening wrong in their life. And so we're trying to figure out, wonder what's going to happen to these kids. I wonder how we're going to find them, how we can help them. And that's something that our government is trying to figure out now. How can we track down these kids? Virtual learning, we need to figure out how to keep up so that they're healthy and they're good. And the last thing, and the most important thing, we're going to make it. We're going to make it through this. We're going to make it through this. And I believe it. I believe everything that's going on happens for a reason. And just keep hope, keep life, keep smiling, keep living, keep learning, keep teaching, because our children are going to have a better world because of what you as teachers are doing now. So now we can, any question, anything, but I just wanted you as teachers and educators just to keep your mind in that right spot. Everything's good. Reach out if you need help, and do that.
No, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, that is so. I was just thinking about this week. We had last weekend, the weekend before, sorry, we had Young Leaders Lab at church, where we got together. I was in the kind of teachers and educators breakout session there, and we were just thinking about. I love what you say about reaching out, because actually we've underestimated, I think, I'm a leader in a school, but we underestimated the impact on the adults in the school. We went all out, like caring for the kids. We looked at, the government looked at something called a recovery curriculum, which they rolled out to the whole Department for Education for the whole nation. And they were like, you got to forget about the grades, focus on the kids. Like, how's their mental well-being? How are they doing? Treat them as individuals, forget the grades, like don't worry about what they've missed, which is all right. Yeah, absolutely. We've got to do that. But I feel like there's this big gap where certainly in my school, we neglected the impact on the adults. And I had conflict last half term. I had teachers like down cultural lines. It was like huge conflict. We had Black History Month in October here, and we celebrated it. And that was awesome. Someone missed something. They didn't do something. And there was like, there was a conflict there, and that was hard. And then mental health impacts from some of the teachers in the school, just being on their own, not being with their family. Like, we underestimated that. I don't know if you have any thoughts around the kind of, underestimating the impact on the adults.
Yeah, you have no idea until you get there. I mean, this is like uncharted territory, but a lot of adults find comfort in the circles that they have around them, whether it's family members or friends and relatives or even co-workers. They know on Monday they're back in their spot. They know Monday through Friday. But when that gets disrupted, like take the business guy, take the guy who's doing stocks right now. He's sitting at home. He's just said, he's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to? And then all of a sudden he gets frustrated and he takes it out on his wife, or he takes it out on the kids. And all of a sudden it mushrooms into this thing that everybody's like, where do we release the anxiety that we're holding within? So as educators for each other, as adult to adult, we just need to keep in mind that look through your Rolodex on your phone and just go, hey, who can I call today? Who can I get a hold of today? Who can I help today? Who can I encourage today? And in a way, usually when we reach out, our reaching out sometimes helps us for ourselves on the inside. So while we're helping other people, it's like lifting us up on the inside. So maybe you need to be the modern day Santa Claus and start giving out like some super spiritual or super hope and some presence to people, and just let them know it's going to be all right. And that's what this collective is about right now for educators, that you'll be able to watch this and they're going to record it. They're going to put it up on the website and you can just watch it and listen. Hey, you're all right. You're going to make it. And the biggest thing for me is saying, thank you. Thank you for being an educator. Thank you for what you're doing in kids' lives and your coworker. So maybe on Monday, you want to go to the classroom next door before the kids get, and just knock on the door and say to the teacher in that classroom, how you doing? Are you good today? And maybe that's what we need to start. And so before we even get to the kids, let's take care of each other. Let's take care of our coworkers, our colleagues, and just see how they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely thinking, like, I was thinking about leadership, and leadership in this kind of, what we want really from this education collective is, we got a whole lot of people in education here. We got teachers, we got learning support assistants, we might even have like caretakers and janitors, whatever. You work with kids in some capacity, and it's very hierarchical in education. You've got the head teacher, you've got the deputy head teachers, you've got the assistant head teachers and all that. But I was thinking, like, I was listening to a bit of Craig Groeschel in the week, his leadership podcast, and he said something that, if you're willing to do what others won't do, you will earn influence others don't have. And I just think that's exactly what you were just talking about there. Like, because this is not about leading out of not leading because our position tells us to lead, but it's because our heart tells us to lead. And I would encourage people on here that, whatever role you're in, it doesn't really matter. We have an opportunity as people that come together in an education collective and get spoken to by, we're in this discussion together. We have that opportunity to then go into schools and lead from heart, not from position.
That's great. That is exactly it. And when you were talking, I was thinking about, I grew up underneath a couple of leaders, teachers, and they taught me something I'll never forget. And I put it into effect when we had a conference, and I had college kids with me, about 30, and we traveled to another state, and we're doing this conference, and the conference was over, it ended, and there was 2 janitors trying to clean like a room that can hold like 2,500 people with like 2 sets of bathrooms. And I looked at them, and my foster care dad was a custodian, was a caretaker. And I remember him having to stay up late, and it was like a Saturday afternoon. And so I said to the 30 college kids, hey, let's help them clean this place up. Because if we all do something, they could go home and be with their family on a Saturday afternoon. So I went and talked to them, and these 2 caretakers said, well, if you could do this, 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 this. So I gave everybody a job. Everybody went to do their job, but I kept the toilets for me. So I cleaned the toilets. So I'm in the toilets cleaning them, and 2 kids, college kids, came in, and they go, what are you doing? So I'm cleaning the toilets. I had the gloves on. I'm like scrubbing. I got the Clorox bleach splashing it. And they go, why would you do toilets? I said, because I have to be willing to do the worst job in your mind so that you can see I'm not bigger than this. And that one of those kids is playing in the National Football League, the highest football league for American football. And he makes $95 million a year. And he gives to all these different charities and stuff. And the other day he was on TV and they go, why would you give so much? He goes, because I had a teacher once who cleaned toilets because he could, not because he had to.
Mm.
And I was like, yes,
Mm.
that's it. And that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how that was just probably 2 weeks ago that he was on TV getting an award because he gave to people during COVID-19. And he's this great guy. And I didn't even know that he remembered that until my wife called me and says, I recorded it. You got to watch this. And I went, oh, I cleaned those toilets, but I didn't do it for him to learn that. I did it because I could. And that's important. That's important. Yeah. Let's do stuff because we can. We may never get any accolade or popularity from it, but we know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And it's this environment we're trying to create for these young people. It's like honor is infectious, like a culture of honor. We can talk about culture of honor and empowering and all that, but it's infectious. Like we do stuff. The best way to lead is to model for these young people. And if we're kind of modeling that for them, we want kids to walk through the school and pick up rubbish and pick up trash and clean stuff, but they're not going to do it if they don't see us doing it in the first place, So we got to connect on that. Talking of young people doing stuff, 2020 has been crazy, like for so many ways. And I was just thinking, like, I don't know, like how that's affected young people and teachers. I mean, we've spoken a lot about teachers, but how do you see that young people have been affected by 2020, and is it gonna last, I think is the question.
I'm gonna go to the end of that. No, it's not gonna last. And I'm totally convinced it's not going to last. As a world, we're going to have to find an answer to all this so that we can come together. And that's the second thing. We have underestimated the power of coming together in a way that is crazy. And I believe that, and it's sad that in the United States of America, suicide amongst teenagers is growing at an incredibly sad rate. With everything that's happening in America, from racism to COVID to the election to who's leading our country, I believe the saddest thing is what's not being talked about until like page 8 or 9 in the newspaper is our young people think they don't have nothing to look forward to. That if this is it, I don't want to be a part of this. And that's why we as adults have to encourage. We have to be the hope. That's why you teachers are the most important. You are there every day. You're with them and just encourage them. Keep on, keep on. I use a phrase, this too shall pass. I say, oh, this too shall pass. Last night, I spoke to a group of young people, and on the outside, they look like, I'm speaking on the wrong topic. These kids are like, they were happy, smiling. But in my heart, I knew that, and the leaders told me this is what they need. I spoke on the topic, and at the end, just the tears, and I'm going to make it now. Thank you for doing that. Kids will put up a mask. They'll wear a facade. But we as teachers, educators, hope givers, that's what I call teachers. They're just hope. You're hope givers. We get to reach past that because we're with them so much, so long. You can only wear a mask so long, and then it starts slipping. And then you can, as an educator, can start seeing the true kid. And that's when we could change that kid and give them hope. So my encouragement is we're going to make it. I just hope we can reach kids quicker and faster before we lose too many of them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, we still got a problem here as well with like violent crime. I was walking through, I live in Wandsworth in southwest London. I was walking through the park this morning, and there's another shrine for another 15-year-old that lost their life there 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, this is real. Like, we've got to, when you talk of giving hope, like, and I think when it comes to modeling behavior, like, I would encourage everyone who works in a school that you might be the one, regardless of position, you might be the one that connects with the, in inverted commas, the worst behaved kid in school. Like, you might be that one that connects with that person. And I would, what I think has been on my heart as a leader in a school is, how are we creating environments for these kids to flourish? And when I say environment, I don't mean the whole school, because sometimes we got a school full of 2,000 children. We can't control the whole school, but we can create an environment maybe in our office or in our classroom where it's one-to-one, interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's an environment, and every young person is a product of their environment. And I think that's where we can give hope. Their home life might be absolute carnage. Like, you know, I spoke to one yesterday. I spoke to one of my young people I'm working with in a pastoral capacity, and they said, I don't like home. This
Yes.
at school is where I'm safe. This is where I find security. This is where I have structure. They don't like home at all. And I think that's just something, you know, I don't know if you've got anything to add on that, but it's how we create that environment and relationship in the school.
But I just think you're right that if home is, and you know, home is hell, then our classroom could be heaven. It could be that safe place, that refuge. Every kid needs that refuge, which I think is why so much went wrong from March until we opened up again. The kids, we cannot phantom what some kids have to go through every weekend. There's so many kids who try to find anywhere to go but their own home. And if they were listening to this, there's kids who are like, yeah, Reggie, I didn't think anybody knew I was like that. And you as an educator may never know that they're coming from that background, which is why even more, we need to set up a safe boundary in our classrooms, in our office, in that place where we're influential, make it a place of hope. In that place where we're the lead, make it a place of love and kindness and mutual respect for all. That's what I do when I do an assembly program. By the end, every kid thinks they're special. And you know what? They don't necessarily need to think it. They need to know they're special. And if you hang around me long enough, you're going to get that in your spirit. And that's what we do. And so keep doing it, teachers. Keep doing it. Keep reaching. Keep loving. And start thinking now, how can I make my classroom a safe place? How can I make my office a safe place? And be intentional this coming week at making that happen in one simple way, one simple phrase. Maybe it's the beginning of the class. I had a teacher who would come in and at the beginning of the class, and I literally started thinking about it right before I got in this classroom. And I think he did that on purpose, because he would go, every time we start class, we're going to take the first 5 minutes and you're going to say, I'm grateful for, and you get to fill in the blank. So he would say, I'm grateful for Reggie. And I'll go, football. I played good last weekend, you know, stuff like that. And everybody had to come up with something. And if you didn't, he said, well, we'll wait. Come on, let's help them. And one guy goes, well, you got nice shoes. I'm grateful. I wish I had your shoes. And she goes, okay, I'm grateful for my shoes. And they just keep going. But everybody started thinking about being grateful when they got to their classroom. So take that and run with it. That teacher, he's retired. He's done, man. He's golfing in Arizona every Saturday. So he'd give it to you right there. But let's just do that. Set a place.
Yeah, that's great. I think, yeah, I was thinking about how the role, I mean, I'm kind of blessed in my role. I do pastoral care. My job is to connect one-to-one with these guys that are going through stuff. But I'm forever saying to the teachers in my school, like, I might have the job title of head of pastoral care, but like everyone needs to be into pastoral care when it comes to working with kids. Like, I hope everyone got into education because you want to work with young people, not over young people, you know. Like we didn't go because we want to just shout commands and get them to do stuff. Like, we hopefully got into education because we wanted to work with them. And I would say, like, find moments where you can show them that you're human too. Like, how can you can connect with them. They're going through something. Maybe you have a story from your past, which I'm not asking you to like break down all boundaries. You've got to stay boundaried, of course, but find those moments where you can show these young people that you're human too, that you're not some kind of robot that the government have rolled out to teach them math. Like, it's you know.
If you make it personal, when you make stuff personal, it starts opening doors. And it's you got to be a little vulnerable to become personal, but you're still the leader in the classroom. And some kids may see where you're from and go, wait a minute, that's me. So if he can make it, I can make it too. If they can get through it, I can get through it too. That's important.
Yeah, and it's just extending empathy, isn't it? There's this big difference between empathy and sympathy. Like, sympathy, if you go too hard on sympathy, you're going to start creating like more of a victim mentality at times. So if you can empathize, and the fruit of empathy being compassion, like, and then extending compassion and challenging these guys through stuff, you get this empowerment dynamic where this person, like, you extend empathy, you show them you walked in their shoes, but you're through it and you're out the other side. Like that's empowering for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what do you think? I was thinking about this. A lot of people ask me about the role of a teacher. Like, is it different? You know, we talk about generations ago, it was this kind of thing, and then now it's this. I don't know if you've seen a shift at all during even this last year. Has the role of a teacher changed? Should it change? I don't know. What are your thoughts around that?
What got me, and in America, it was kind of cool, I think, is that the admiration of teachers went through the roof in that first shutdown, because there were parents like, okay, I don't know this math. I don't know it. I don't have a clue. There's no way. I can't do that. Even like the news anchor guys on TV were like, we got to do something because I'm past my math skills with my child, you know, and I believe people started getting a new appreciation for the school system, for the educators, for that whole system. And hopefully it'll carry back over when we get through this, because education, teachers are like the backbone of this thing. I mean, they are like, absolutely, they are molding and making the next generation. And people have heard you say that over and over again. But now, after the first lockdown that we as a world went through, we're all starting to realize that and understand the capacity and the neediness and what we got in the heroes that we call educators. And that was very, very evident in our news feeds in America, and what people were saying. And I hope it carries on, that you guys as educators know how important that you are, and your role is so, so vital. And kids, and it's one thing for math, English, you know, science, biology, but it's another thing that one kid, he was like on the first grade, and they had a newscast, and the news anchor says, we went on and asked kids through Zoom, what do you miss most? And one kid goes, I miss the cafeteria lady because she always gave me an extra cookie. And everybody kind of laughed. And another kid goes, I miss my gym teacher because they just let me run, and I don't get to run in this house. And all the little things that didn't seem like they mattered, these kids brought out. And they said, and the question was, what do you miss from being normal? And they all had something to do with school. And that's how important you guys are.
Yeah.
So never forget your role or your importance.
Yeah, that's so true. And here as well, I mean, I still see now, you walk around the city and you see, we had like the rainbow symbol for NHS, so our National Health Service workers, but it always says, it doesn't say thank you to the health service. It does, but it also says thank you to the National Health Service and key workers. And we've got to remember that teachers are so key. You are
Absolutely
all key workers, and the whole nation is out in thanks for everything that we're doing. So it's awesome. All right, we'll wrap up soon. Just a couple of quick fire things. So, okay, how can we best lead our students? In just a few, how can we best lead? Just to wrap up.
I think you said it. Example by example, by just, you know, showing up every day and coming with an agenda and believing in what you're teaching and believing in what you're saying and be enthusiastic about it, and just letting kids know, come on, no matter what happens in the world, this is our safe place. This whole session has been highly, for me, I mean, I'm like thinking, going down what we go through these things on Zoom where like psychologists and psychiatrists, and they go, okay, when you do these things with students, they need to hear this, or with teachers, they need, and you have come up with the very points that they're saying that the world needs to get through such a thing. So we just got to love our kids. Let's just love them. And they know that you do. So as an educator, helper, love the kids.
Amazing. How do we best lead ourselves?
And I said it earlier, just give yourself some time. You know, close the textbooks, close the next lesson, just close your eyes, journal, meditate, take time for yourself.
And then how do we best lead each other?
Love each other.
Yeah.
Smile. Hey, you know, I know you got your mask on when you're out in public, dude, but give a wave. Just put a wave up. You know, a little fist pump, a little peace sign, whatever. You just tell them it's going to be all right. So go a little more to just show it's going to be. We're in this together.
Love that. We are hope givers, as you said. And it's not, and what was it? You said this too shall pass. This whole season.
This too shall pass. Yeah, man. That's right.
I love that. Well,
and
look,
I'll get to come back to England soon.
That's what I was just going to say. You're going to come and join us again soon. I see that 2021, you're going to be back on the road with us, doing loads of stuff.
It's going to be beautiful.
But look, for today, I'm going to say a huge amount of thank you to you. I know you're out on the road, you're traveling, you're busy, but you've taken time out to join us. So, yeah, we're always blessed with you, Reggie, and we thank you so much just for being part of our family, because you are, and you're part of this
Absolutely.
team. You're part of the Schools Project team with us here, and we really appreciate that. So, yeah. But I'll just kind of tell everyone else on the call that you guys, you know, we're in lockdown, but next year we're going to have Reggie. We'd love to be in your school with Reggie. But
let's do it. If you're an educator, call now. He's going to give you a website to go to, and let's book it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. And we've got so much going on, you know, with assemblies programs and everything right now in lockdown, you know. So if you want to find out more about Schools Project, you want us in your school, we are more than happy to talk to you. So hillsong.co.uk/schools project, and we can come and visit you real soon, whether in person or online, whatever. We'll be there. Next year we'll bring Reggie.
Sweet.
Awesome. All right, Reggie, loads of love to you and all of your family and everyone over there. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Hey, and everybody keep loving, because this too shall pass.